You are not prepared!
A few days have passed since the latest nerfs, and in this video I will show you what are the best performers, the winners and the losers of the nerfs, so you guys have a better idea of what you want to be playing. I'm doing my best to give you guys the best possible Hearthstone meta reports out there, and I honestly believe we are definitely amongst them. So if you guys appreciate what I'm doing, it would be awesome if you subscribe to the channel, because less than 35% of you right now are, and that really bums me out, guys. Lately the channel has not been doing super well either, so it would be awesome if you drop a like, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel, and I will keep on providing you with top 5 best decks meta reports. Now, let's get into it. The latest nerfs did indeed tone down Hunter quite a bit, and now it seems like Warlock is at the top of the list, and also Mage is doing pretty well as well. Paladin is playable again, and Druid is still pretty fine. Warrior still in the dumpster, even though even they have some pretty good decks, and Priest, even though it's still at the bottom, it is one of the best decks in Top Legend too. So everybody has stuff to be playing with, including Rogue. First deck on the list is gonna be the best performer in Top 1000 Legend right now, which is Spooky Ping Mage. This variant is not as spooky as others with Deathborns and whatnot, but it's still doing pretty fine and it's pretty fast due to the fact it's only a 30 deck list. You're running all of your good cards that give you massive hero power super fast. You have a ton of card draw with Arcane Intellect plus your Frostweave Dungeoneers, which are insane if they pull off a couple of 1/1s in most matchups. Your locations are still OP. Commander Sivara is giving you only good stuff because you're really not running any bad stuff. And obviously you have big hitters like Reckless Apprentice, Varden, Dawngrasp, and Mordresh Fireeye. The deck can be pretty fast and it's pretty efficient at doing what it does, which is massive hero powers with a ton of board control as well. Not to mention the 2 solid alibis, which you can literally get up to 5 of. Matchup wise, we don't have too much stats just yet, but this is what it looks like, and Kris Imp Warlock would be your only true, not amazing matchup. For the mulligan, going first, this is what it looks like, and you obviously want your hero power action. Magister and Dawngrasp also makes the cut because it's such a huge part of your win condition. Frostweave Dungeoneer and Arcane Intellect for some nice card draw. Cold Case, and also Reckless Apprentice, even though try to be somewhat curving into it. Shivering Sorceress and Amplified Snow Flurry and the location are always great. When on the coin, again the situation is not much different. Mordresh seems to be a little bit too high on the list, but we do see this exclamation point, so it's not super guaranteed that it's doing as good as it looks, so there's that. I would definitely still be keeping Magister Dawngrasp, I have no idea why it's so low in this case. And same goes for Reckless Apprentice even more, like these stats kinda look all over the place. Anybody in the comments know why this might be? I just think this is just simply not true. Either way, for other good mage decks, we have Big Spell Mage still doing pretty fine, and you guys can check out a very detailed video guide about it, which is doing amazingly poorly so far. Just Big Spell Mage with the 30 list is doing great as well. And we also have 40 lists with Spooky Mage again, which are doing great. Secret Mage is just above 50, so it's not super amazing, but if you want to be doing at least your achievement with Objection, it's not a bad deck at all. On the number 2 spot, we have Naga Priest, which is another pretty good deck in Top 1000 Legend, and is the second best performer there. This deck is not easy to pilot optimally, and that is the reason why it's not doing so good from Diamond to Legend, but if you guys really want to be learning it, and you actually put in the effort, you should be able to climb even to High Legend with this list. You're basically running all of your good Nagas in here, including the Serpent Twigs obviously, from where it kinda comes the name. You have Radiant Elemental so you can discount all of that good stuff. Pelagos, which is an insane good card, which basically gives inner fire to everything you cast spells on. Samuro, because he is a very large, healthy boy, and he can do some crazy good AoEs with not much effort. Boona the Ascended is absolutely OP, and even if you get silenced on, it still retains the stats. And you also have a couple of school teachers, which are giving you cheap Nagas to keep on cycling with, and also the random spells ain't too bad either. Matchup wise, you're not gonna be too happy against Beast Hunters surprisingly, and also against Thief Rogues. But all in all, if you're good with the deck, you should be doing pretty fine. For the mulligans, here's what it looks like. I had to increase the last 30 days so we can actually see some good stats going, and obviously going first and second, your Serpent Twig is just MVP. Cheap Nagas are also pretty amazing for you, including Vicious plus Murkwater. Your location is not bad. Shadow Word Devour can be insanely good against stuff like Warlocks. Amalgam of the Deep is a nice keep if you already have a good one drop, and also Radiant Elemental and Treasure Guard, because it's so healthy, can also make the cut. Going second, the situation looks pretty similar, but also Priestess Vash I do believe becomes a lot more keepable, and even maybe things like Samuro. but the rest remains the same. For other good priest decks, we also have Blessed Boom Priest being above 50%, but again, this is a very hard skill-based deck, so if you're good with it, these stats are gonna be a lot higher. Quest Priest is still playable, Thief and Boar Priest are a little bit too under, but again, both of those are pretty high intensity skills, so the better you are, the better the results will be. On the number 3 spot, we have Thief Rogue, which is the third best performing in top 1000, which is also doing decent in Diamond to Legend. This list is also actually running secrets, with the new included Perjury, which there's also an achievement for, and you're also running things like Ghastly Gravedigger, so you can mess with the opponent's hand. You're still running the Jackpot package, with your Swift Scales Trickster being able to cast those Jackpot spells a lot faster. With Contraband Stash, you get to repeat all of them, and you also have Test Greymane and Siren Aphrius at the end. The deck is pretty complex, and you're gonna have to make a lot of awkward decisions, and no game is gonna feel alike. Like, there are plenty of decisions that can make or break this deck, including the random stuff you're actually casting, because if you start casting things like AoEs and massive board clears or just massive card draw, things like Contraband Stash and your tests might become a liability for you in the long run if you actually want to be playing it so you can refill the board. So you gotta be really careful which spells you actually use and how, and you gotta remember those spells so you know what outcomes you could be expecting. Matchup wise, Ram Druid, Fell Demon Hunter, and Spooky Mage and Kris Warlock seem to be not so great for you, and we don't really have that much stats to be super confident about how well this deck is gonna be performing, but again, the better you are, the better the results will be. Mulligan wise, going first, this is what it looks like. Reconnaissance seems to be at the top, as well as Jackpot, and your Blackwater Cutlass so you can tradable it. Queen of Shara on curve can feel pretty powerful, as well as Krakatoa. And also Swift Scale Trickster and your Wild Pog Gnolls can be pretty decent as well. Private Eye, I guess you might want to have a secret already for it, but other than that, it's kinda iffy. And the rest probably not such a great keep. When on the coin it looks the same, but Sir Finley and Saradin has become a lot more keepable. 2 Funifarians so you can be reactive while getting some random good stuff and actually also discounting your Gnolls. And even 5 mana Sprint apparently is not so bad, and it's even better than the Jackpot, which is kinda surprising honestly. For other good rogue decks, we have Mine Rogue doing just as good, and also the 30 Thief Rogue is not bad at all. There's also a bunch of other 40 variants, but the one I showed you is the best performer so far. On the number 4 spot, we have Imp Warlock doing amazingly well from Diamond to Legend, but if you actually want to be climbing in top 1000 Legend, the Curse variant is the one that's doing better, but not too far from 50%. The Just Imp Warlock, really nothing new in it, it's still doing amazingly well, you still basically just want to be curving out insanely well with your good imps. And around turn 5 and 6, buff him out with Charity Bartender and your Imp King Rafam, but if push comes to shove, like I said, we have Syra at the end, so you just gotta stall out till then, and he should be nice and loaded, given the fact how much small stuff you got killed, and you also have Impending Catastrophe so you never run out of steam. Matchup wise, this is what it looks like so far. And your basically bad matchups would be Spooky Mage and other Warlocks alike, and Curse Imp Warlock as well because they have a bunch of removal too. Mulligan wise, going first, this is what it looks like, and like I said, you want your good early game imps. Your location usually makes a lot of sense, but make sure to already have a 1-drop, like Wicked Shipment or Flame Imp, or even Flustered Librarian. Fiendish Circle is just OP, Mischievous Imp as well if you curve into it well. And if you already have some good curve going, even Impending Catastrophe makes the cut. Imp King Rafam is just also huge amounts of stats, but again, try to be somewhat curving into it. On the coin, kind of the same, and yeah, it's literally the same cards over and over again, but depending on the matchup, you might even consider keeping something like a Grimoire Sacrifice if you think it's gonna pan out that way. For other good Warlock decks, like I said, the Curse Imp Warlock is still doing mighty fine, and you can check that one out. And also the Imp Warlock without Denafrius at the end is also doing well. There's also some weird Jailer variant at the bottom, but it's barely above 40%, so stay away from that one. And on the number 5 spot, we have a class we don't normally see here, but Control Paladin is actually doing pretty well right now. Let's look at from now in disorder so we can get a little bit better stats. And yeah, this deck you probably want to be selling your kidney for it because it has how many legendaries? Over 10. Damn. Either way, you just want to be curving out in the early game with your good cheap stuff. You have massive board clears with equalities and city taxes. You also have Blade Master Samuro, Blade Master Akani, basically all the Blade Masters. Spammy Arcanist, 1 copy of so you can remove those. And you also still be running Teotar, which is literally not really nerfed honestly, like seriously, what was that? You have your heavy hitters at the end, which you could actually order them for, with your order in the court, and that way you get to get your Light Force Curial in a timely fashion and Mistress Might soon after. But that is not at all your main win condition. Like, it is the obvious win condition, but you can also just attrition the hell out of the opponent, and you also have some pretty big status stuff yourself, so Mistress Might is just a finisher in some very hard controlling matchups. Matchup wise, here's what it looks like. Other variations of Control Paladin can be pretty hard for you, and same goes for Relic Demon Hunter apparently. Mulligan wise, going first, here's what it looks like. Variance a little bit high on the list for my liking, honestly, especially since we are running Order in the Court, so I wouldn't really be keeping this guy like that. Depending on the matchup, City Tax can be pretty good, Seafloor Savior and your Alliance Batterman and your Sinful Shelf are always gonna be great, and Righteous Protector and Mugborn probably also good. Okani on Curve can be pretty disruptive as well, and the rest you gotta have a good reason to keep him. Ashura on Mooncatcher I'd say is a good keep though. On the coin is pretty much similar. Curial is again a little bit high on the list, same with Leviathan. I don't know, I feel those are kind of a bait given the fact you can stack your deck from high to low. This just basically means that these cards are pretty good, honestly. I don't think you should be keeping him in the mulligan though. Depending on the matchup, again, you could be keeping stuff like Equality, City Tax, and even Spammy Arcanist. And your good early game minions are also pretty good. For other good Paladin decks, we have only Control at the top. There are some variants above 50 with Jailer included as well. And we also have Pure Paladin barely above 50, but Silverhand Recruit Paladin not doing so well. That's gonna be it for the 5 top best decks. Now let's check out the classes we haven't mentioned, so you get a full picture of what's working right now. Starting off with Demon Hunter, where we have Fel Demon Hunter at the top with the relics. Aggro Demon Hunter is also doing pretty fine, and Just Relic Demon Hunter is also above 50, and the rest is basically iterations of those archetypes. With Druid, I almost included Aggro Druid in this list, but since it's such an obvious pick anyway, you guys already know about it, I have several videos for it, you know what to do. If you like Druid and cheap decks, this is the way to go. On the other hand, Ram Druid is by far not cheap at all, but it's also still working, and the rest are worse iterations of the decks. Hunter, honestly, Beast Hunter is still working as a charm. It's not S tier anymore, but it's still probably high tier 2, if not low tier 1, honestly. The deck just works very well, all the tools are still there. I don't think the nerfs killed it. Like, a lot of people are saying it did. I would honestly give it a try today on stream, so if you guys want to see that, check it out. With Shamans, we have Control Shaman at the top. Murloc Shaman fell below 50, so yeah, probably not so great anymore. And for Warrior, it's actually surprising Enrage Warrior is getting higher on the list again, but Charge Warrior is still in the dumpster. It is a skill-heavy deck though, so if you really want to push yourself, you could even give Charge Warrior a go, it seems. So that's gonna be it for this video, guys. If you watched it to the end, thank you very much, and definitely consider leaving a like and also subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching. I'm Kris05, and I'll see you in my next video or stream.